Lonzo Ball recently came out and said that he is only 70%, but he dropped a video with him throwing down a vicious dunk in practice. So we are going to be talking about, is this a good sign for the Chicago Bulls franchise that he is out here throwing down these dunks and saying that he is only 70%? This is Rico Greenhowe, and this is another episode of Bulls Digest. And before we jump into it, I want to let you know that 76.7% of you guys that watch the videos are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with your latest news and happenings around your Chicago Bulls. And without further ado, let's jump into the topic of the day, which is Lonzo closer to a return. All right, guys. So look, this is coming on the heels of what Lonzo Ball said just a couple days ago when he was teasing his podcast. And I guess he's going to officially do updates about his injury status as the season goes along, or as his podcast continues to keep coming out with episodes here. But in his teaser, he's saying that he is only 70%. And then that is followed by a video where he is throwing himself an alley-oop off the glass and throwing down a dunk. And the question now is, like, is this a good thing for the Chicago Bulls, or is this a bad thing? And initially what I'm thinking here is controlled optimism. All right. As a Chicago Bulls fan, I'm thinking controlled optimism. No doubt about it, as a Chicago Bulls fan, and I think the franchise, they are rooting for Lonzo Ball. We have waited 2.5 years to see this guy get back on the court, and we know how beneficial he was to the team running and being a top of the Eastern Conference like team. All right. And so now that we see these videos, I'm going to call these hype videos, and that's exactly what it is. I think that I'm seeing this movie that we've already watched before with Derrick Rose. And I know that Derrick Rose had different injuries than Lonzo Ball, but the Chicago Bulls franchise has not historically been in the best situations after knee surgeries have hit their star players. I'm thinking of what happened to Jason Williams back in the day. Obviously he shattered his leg riding a motorcycle, but Derrick Rose was a guy that he hurt himself on the court. He wasn't able to come back to his full capacity here. And so I just remember that Derrick Rose was showing signs of him coming out. He was dunking. You've seen these various practice videos and things like that where he was breaking people down and stuff like that. And we waited after he sat out an entire year, and he only played 10 games only to tear his meniscus in his other knee. So that's where I'm really concerned with Lonzo Ball. It's just not just what he's doing right now, but it's, can he sustain that in a season atmosphere? It's one thing when you're doing it in a practice setting. It's another thing when you're playing just 5-on-5 against your teammates. I think it's an even another thing when you're playing 5-on-5 against other teams, and you're having to travel as well. You have to factor in the rest and the preparation and how the knee is going to respond. And here's a guy that said that, or it was reported that he could not even walk up and down stairs without having pain. And so I'm not sure that I truly believe that he's going to be okay from this situation. And I'm thinking back to Derrick Rose and his situation. When Derrick Rose was an MVP, he was averaging 21 points, and he was averaging nearly 8 assists a game. Now that Lonzo Ball is injured, it's definitely going to be a step back for him. When Derrick Rose came back, he was only averaging 15 points a game, and he was barely getting about 3 assists a game. And that's because now he didn't have that same level of explosion. He was definitely rusty. And, he wasn't able to get to spots and really open up teammates like he had been before in his MVP year. Even when you look at James Harden, a guy that hasn't had any kind of major injuries, but as time has gone along, he's not able to separate like he used to in his MVP year, and it's tougher for him nowadays, like to score at a high clip like he was with the Rockets. And I just think with Lonzo, his game has always been predicated on speed. All right. And so I get it that he can still play the game and not be as fast, but what does that look like for the Chicago Bulls? Because the Chicago Bulls depended on him to use his speed to be able to set up teammates, to start the fast break, right? To get to the paint and force the defense to commit. If we're not getting that from Lonzo Ball, then what exactly are we going to get? And we still have to pay this guy $21 million, guys. And so that is where it to me, I think that we have got to go into this thing with a bit of optimism, man, or excuse me, controlled optimism, because I'm just not sure that Lonzo is going to be the same. And just looking at this again, 2.5 years, we've been waiting for him to come back. Had trouble walking up and down stairs. Here you're looking at the stats for him. And I just talked about Derrick Rose and I talked about his digression. What would that look like if he comes back and then he decreases now from 13 points a game down to just, 8 points a game? And then all of a sudden the assist that he had, now it suddenly falls down from the 5 to 7 down to about 2 or 3 assists a game. Like, guys, this is not going to be a good situation for us. And finally, as I usually leave it with here on Lonzo, he has historically missed 56% of his career games. And I just think, at what point in time do we say as a franchise that we have to move on? I just think that maybe the best situation for us is we need to go ahead and waive and stretch Lonzo Ball. I think that that's going to be the best bet. I don't think that we're going to be able to medically retire him because he's doing everything that he can possibly do to get on the court. I'm rooting for him to get back, but I'm not sure that he is going to be able to sustain this high level and get back to where he was prior to the injury. So let me know, guys, what you guys think in the comments. I mean, Lonzo has admittedly said that he is only 70%. He has missed the 2.5 years of play. And now, he's at a point where he's walking up and down stairs, obviously pain free, and he's dunking the basketball. But do you guys think that the Chicago Bulls should definitely be thinking about moving on from him? Do you feel like the Chicago Bulls would be better served maybe picking up his replacement in this draft? I'm not suggesting that because I still think we should still go with hype. But what do you guys think we should do with Lonzo Ball? And do you think that he would be able to come back and lead us to the top in the Eastern Conference and finish at the top of the Eastern Conference, because we fell off once he got injured? So this is Rico Greenhowe. This is another episode of Bulls Digest. And even though we don't know what we're going to do with our star point guard or if he can play at a high level, I'm still saying go Bulls. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.